as participants in many different tribes, how can we start showing up better for the things that we care about? How can we be leaders when we're not in charge?
Welcome to the Strategy Rewind Podcast. I am your host, Miguel Lebron. Here at the Strategy Rewind Podcast, we look at the relationship between goals, strategies, belief, and objective breakthrough. I'm so excited for today's episode. Hey, if we haven't met before, thank you for being connected here today. I am a father, a leader, an author, a strategy coach, and mentor, and I partner with individuals who have a goal but need a strategy. And in this podcast, we focus on the strategy to help you have a breakthrough moment. Recently, I was a guest on the podcast Build Your Business Better, a podcast which is hosted by Andrew Biernet. Andrew Biernet is the owner of Finger Lakes Business Coaching, and he interviews different business owners, entrepreneurs, and leaders. Of course, his podcast focuses on the art and science of running a successful business. And as I was there, we had a conversation that literally went everywhere. It was an amazing, amazing conversation. I'll leave a link on the show notes so you can check out that conversation. But there's a question that he asked, which I want to share the answer with you today, and also bring further strategies on how we can be leaders when we're not in charge. Yeah, good question. You know, several years ago, on a particular Christmas day, somebody gave me a gift, and we exchanged gifts. So they gave me a gift, and I looked at it and I was like, oh, okay. But in the back of my mind, I was like, man, my gift was better. I gave so much more. And I think oftentimes when we think about service, we may unconsciously do this where we fall into the trap of saying, but I gave so much. I gave, and it's, what it's almost like the idea of what have you given for me almost. And I think with regards to leadership, with regards to actually trying to have an impact and staying connected, it's about just pouring into other individuals. And oftentimes there's this uncomfortability. I'll speak about myself. Oftentimes I feel uncomfortable when individuals pour into me and I feel like, man, I got nothing to give back. And we want to be in a room where we're not the smartest person. And I've been in those rooms where I'm not the smartest person. Now, I've also been in the room where I am the smartest person. But what I've seen is that when I'm in the room where I am the smartest person, it was those rooms where I wasn't the smartest. It was those rooms where people were pouring into me and I felt like I've got nothing to give. Those were the rooms that prepared me to actually bless, benefit, and help others grow. And I think oftentimes we kind of fall into this trap of, am I giving enough or am I doing enough? Or is it equal to what the other person is giving me? And I think that's where you kind of see that disconnect. So I think going to the heart of it, I think we need to maintain focus of let me give the best that I can here right now. And that may not be the best 2 days from now. Hopefully it's not. Hopefully 2 days from now, I'm a whole different version. I can give you even more, but at least for right now. And when we ask the question of, are you happy with your decisions? Oftentimes people will jump to the result. Well, this happened this way. No, wait a minute. The question was, are you happy with your decision? Not the result, because the decision is based upon what you thought at that moment, your tools, your resources, your understanding, not the results. It may not have come out the way you wanted to, but your decision. Are you happy with that? And with leaders, oftentimes we're so result focused that we don't focus on just the decision. Okay, did I make the right decision? Did I give the best of me? Or was I too focused on maybe trying to create this equilibrium where we're all pouring equally? And it's like, sometimes we're not all going to pour equally. Sometimes somebody's going to pour so much into me that I overflow, but that overflow is going to allow me to pour into others. Let me talk to you about our show sponsors, United Marriage Encounter. United Marriage Encounter is a worldwide nonprofit organization dedicated to improving marriages by introducing powerful, practical, ongoing communication strategies. It's such a powerful experience, the weekends that they host for marriages. Early in our marriage, my wife and I went to a weekend, but the strategies that we received were so powerful, we decided to go again, because the truth is that we can always keep growing and learning on how to better communicate. The weekends that they host are presented in a conference type setting, but after that initial meet and greet, no other group sharing is required. Each couple is given enough time to talk privately, freely, and be able to dedicate their entire time to their significant other. Head over to unitedmarriage.com. That's unitedmarriage.com, where there you'll find more details on events that are coming up and may be happening in your neck of the woods. I'm so grateful to Andrew for allowing me to be part of his podcast. We had an awesome conversation off the air as well. Amazing, amazing guy. Please be sure to check out the show note links where you'll be able to check out his podcast and all of the amazing things he's doing. But let me bring to you further strategy on how you can serve even when you're not the individual in charge. Oftentimes when we're in the position of leadership, we get so caught up with the agenda that comes along with the title that when we are removed from the title, we often, don't know where to go. We don't know where to navigate. We forget that a lot of the doors that had opened were because of the position we had, but that doesn't mean that you're not in good graces, and that doesn't mean that you haven't built relationships. Hopefully along the way you did build relationships, and that allows you to even continue to serve in a high capacity. So how do we do this? How do we serve even when we're not the individual in charge? How do we lead even when we're not the individual in charge? Well, there's three ways. Number one, we have to find significance. We have to find significance. Look for the different ways that you can serve even without a position. And believe me, there are different ways that you can serve even without a title, even when you're not the main guy, right? You think about the sport of basketball. You have 5 individuals who are on the court at a particular moment representing a team, and yet you have individuals who are on the bench waiting to come off, right? But here it is, these individuals that are on the court at the same time, not all of them are going to be the one to score because there's only one ball. Only one person can be the one who scores. However, someone has to get the rebound. Someone has to get the steal. Someone has to get the assist. Someone has to guard. Someone has to box out. There's a bevy of things happening at once where these positions are moving and allowing so that the end goal would be the same, which is get the W, right? Get the score. Who scores oftentimes is so important to so many individuals, but there are individuals within the game of basketball who have been defenders and just key components to the perimeter. And here's what I want you to understand with that analogy is that you and I can be effective even when we're not the individuals with the ball. You and I can be effective even when we're not the person who everyone is looking at to score the final points, right? We can still be effective. And what we have to do is find significance. How do I serve even without the title? How do I serve even without the quote unquote ball, right? How do I serve? And we have to look within ourselves. And one of the things that we can do is that we can maximize the day. Can I give the best of me today? Well, yes, I can. And can I encourage others to give their best today? Yes, I can. And oftentimes the operative word here is the best. Truly, it is not. That's not the focus. The focus should be today. Because my best today is not going to be my best tomorrow. In fact, my best today is better than yesterday. And it should be that my best tomorrow is better than today. If I'm giving my best today, then tomorrow I should be in a position where I can give even more, where I can give better, where I can serve more. And so the focus is, can I give my best today? Yes. And can I encourage others to do the same? Yes. The operative word being today. Today. And can I help others focus that, hey, today, this was your best. If this was truly your best and this was the best today, tomorrow, you'll be a better version. Why? Because you should not stop being a learner. And that's point number 3. Be a learner. Never stop learning. And one of the ways you can ensure that you're continuously learning is to put yourself in uncomfortable positions. Put yourself in uncomfortable position. If it's uncomfortable for you going Facebook Live, then do that. Go Facebook Live. Do it until you're comfortable with it. Or maybe you're just not comfortable with sharing your poetry or your writing. Well, share it. Share it out there. Send it as a text. Send it as part of a tweet. But send it. Do it. Because by putting yourself in uncomfortable position, you'll learn exactly what is it that makes you uncomfortable. By putting yourself in uncomfortable position, in an uncomfortable room, with an uncomfortable tribe, with an uncomfortable culture, uncomfortable to you, by the way, because you're not exposed to that. But by exposing yourself, you know what you're going to do? You're going to learn and you're going to grow in empathy, but you're also going to gain perspective. And it is that perspective that will put you in a better position to maximize and to continuously be a learner and to continuously find new ways, different ways to serve like only you can. One of the things that we need to be aware of is to not compare ourselves to others, because as we know, that strategy is a defined number of steps to help you obtain your breakthrough moment, but it's a defined number of steps for you, for where you are right now. And where you are right now, you can still have an impact, because the question here today is, how can I lead when I'm not the individual doing the final play, when I'm not the individual that has the final say, when I'm not the individual that is the one who gives the final write-off. And let me tell you something, not being the one who has to give the final signature, the final say, not being that person and still impacting to a high level, that's an awesome place to be. And if you find yourself right there right now, embrace that moment, because that moment will open up brand new doors so that you can serve like never before. Thank you so much for everyone who has been connected here today on Strategy Rewind Podcast. For more information on this podcast, head over to strategyrewind.com. Of course, I also want to thank today's guest and encourage you to head over to the show notes of this episode, as you can find details on what they're doing and how you can connect with them. There in the show notes, you'll also find information on today's show sponsor, which is United Marriage Encounter. Remember, they have events going on all through the calendar year and even in your neck of the woods. Of course, if you'd like to be a sponsor of this podcast, head over to MiguelLebron.com. There you'll find details not only of how you can become a sponsor of this podcast, but also information on Miguel Lebron coaching. As always, please consider subscribing and sharing this podcast. And of course, surround yourself with people that will nourish your vision.